Hey, welcome everyone. Keep putting where you're from in the chat room. I'll be right back. Again, just keep putting where you're from over in the chat box. I'm just going to have to do a few adjustments every time before we go live, and I'll be right back in about 1 minute to 2 minutes. We'll get this thing kicked off. Okay, we are ready, I believe. People are still joining. Let me get the music away here. Okay. We are in the house. Hey, welcome everyone. I'm sure our numbers will grow here. But I want to welcome everyone to our PrepperNet Live on Sunday nights. That's about the most original name I could come up with. Can everyone hear me in the chat room and see me? I did some adjustments on my camera because literally I used to be a gray man, and we figured out how to do some adjustments. So if you can see me and hear me, let me know in the chat room. So tonight we got some very special guests coming on, and it's going to be very interesting. I do want you right now to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I never mentioned that. A lot of you guys have already done that. But, and I don't know what that means except you subscribe. There's also a bell. I've seen people all the time say, hey, click on the bell. So whatever that does, click on the bell. I think it tells you when I go live or something like that. I'm going to disappoint some of you, but yet so we were going to do the end times discussion tonight, and I've decided to postpone that. My leadership team said, hey, you don't want to do that on a Sunday night, do that on an off night. So we're going to do that. We're just not going to do it tonight. I hope you guys are okay with that. I do have, and to make up for that, I'm going to bring actually a flesh and blood on. My son is going to be coming on with his girlfriend, which is kind of interesting. My family's never really been involved, I guess. Well, my wife has done a few things. We're taking some classes and everything. But I do have some slides we can go through here real quick. I want to remind you that this book is perfect for the days we're living in right now. I wrote a book. It's called The Case for Christian Preparedness. It is, I think you can still see me. It's pretty thin. It just takes Bible verses and goes about that we need to trust the Lord and obey the Lord, and it's a combination of them both. And I was getting frustrated with friends just saying, you know what, when bad things happen or something happens, I'm going to just trust the Lord. And I kind of just shook my head. So I put some verses, some of my thoughts. It is very cheap. You can I usually give it away for free once a quarter in a PDF, in a Kindle version. But I think it's $5.99, $4.99. And if you think I get rich on books, you don't understand books. And there's an Audible as well. So anyway, we just wanted to mention that it's a good, if you know a neighbor or someone that is a believer and you want to push them over the edge, not to die, but to maybe prep. That would be possibly a good book to share with them. Tomorrow night, we have a thing called Zello Night. Zello Night is a push-to-talk app on your phone. We have a moderator. You learn how to use ham radio. They use some of the lingo. You check in. You wait for your turn. If you need to know more information about that, it's on our website on PrepperNet.com, or you can go to our Facebook group and just literally type in, hey, someone tell me about Zello Night, and people will share, and you'll it's a good way to connect. Once a week, people from around the world will call in from England, Australia, and they'll call in and they'll check in. And so, but just so that's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's go to the next slide. So on Thursday, I'll be teaching class 2 of Intro to Preparedness, a step-by-step plan. So last Thursday, I taught class 1, and you can sign up. The URL is right there at preppernet.com/plan. It's this Thursday, April 2nd at 8 p.m. Now, I'll tell you, the first class that we took, that I gave, 1,800 people have taken the class, and I have a download that goes with the class, and the download was downloaded 1,432 times, which that's pretty amazing. I'm tickled to death with that. But 1,800 people views, but the download is 1,432, which is a crazy. So, because you don't download it twice, I guess you could, but anyway. And so class 2 is coming this Thursday. So make sure you go and sign up. I'm going to be using different software. So the first one I streamed just like this one, but I think it's not this class, it's next class. I'll be using different software where it won't be streamed to my YouTube channel like this. We'll be using a thing called Webjammer. And so if you don't sign up, you won't get the email of telling you where to go. You also won't get the email of telling you where the replay was, because that's how I tell you where the replay will be. So anyway, so that's class 2. Hope you can make that. I see some people said that forgot about the download. Class 1 was great. Okay. So we're going to continue to go the next one. Oh, so in the class, I go over things you need to buy, things you need to train, meaning learn, to do, and then mindset. You got to get your mindset for disasters. Even if it's a job loss, a tornado, or whatever it may be, you got to be in the right mindset. You don't want to be what we call as a zombie, just standing around going, I just can't believe this is happening. You need to know kind of what to do, what to expect from other people, what to expect from your family, and we go through that. And then in groups, I probably should put an S there, group, about being in a group. I think being in a group of like-minded individuals, family, neighbors, other preparedness-like people is your most important prep. So we go through that as well. So that is, again, Thursday night at 2. There's the URL again, preppernet.com/plan. And you, at the very bottom, you just put your email. You won't get an email saying that you joined. It'll actually say on the page, you successfully entered your email or something like that. So with that said, what's the next slide? Okay, we went through that. Oh, so the class is actually 7 weeks long. And so I wrote a book, and the book takes a new prepper from day one through a year. And so I have my chapters in there broken into 2-month segments. So the first class, we went through month 1 and 2. Now, a lot of people accelerate this and do it for 2 weeks, but it's going to be hard because there's a lot of things to do and to buy and to think about through these. But what I'm doing is I'm giving you the entire year in really 7 nights, because the last night's going to be question and answers. But my handout was 10, 13, I don't know, 12 pages. I don't know. It's straight from my book, and I hope it was helpful. And I actually have links to the things that I suggest you buy. That was the thing when I became a prepper. I made a lot of mistakes because I bought the wrong things, or I didn't do enough research. And so I actually have put this in front of many preppers, and we sat at the table, and I said, when should we buy this? When should we do this? When should we do this? What should we buy here? So I suggest actual books to read. I suggest things to buy, everything. And so it's been through more than just myself. So I wanted to make sure that it was good information. With that said, the next slide we're going to get started. Great. I'm going to go full screen here for a second. I apologize. Woo. Hey, I'm Forrest. I am the founder of PrepperNet. PrepperNet is a group of like-minded individuals, and you guys know this because most of you guys are members. And we want you to get involved in a meetup locally, but also there's a local Facebook page as well. There's the meetup page and a Facebook page. Then we have the large Facebook group as well that you can join, and it's just look up PrepperNet. So tonight, here's what we're going to do. Tonight, I'm going to interview my son, Caleb, and his girlfriend, because 3 weeks ago, they were in Paris, France. And we're going to go through kind of their timeline and what they did, and through some quarantine and all that. Then I'm going to have Tenderfoot, which is my co-host on Prepping Academy. He's coming on after that. And then after he leaves, or he may stay on, but then I'm going to have Kyle from my other co-host in the Prepping Academy is coming on, and we're going to just kind of maybe take some questions. I'm going to ask them some questions, Tenderfoot and Kyle, and so, but that's kind of our evening this tonight. So hope you guys are prepared for all this. With that said, let me make sure all my notes are done. Oh, I do want to tell you that our family reunion that we planned for PrepperNet has been canceled. We were going to go and have everyone come to a park, Stone Mountain Park in the Carolinas, and that's been postponed at this point. I also know that talking to Jan that she has postponed Heritage Life Skills and really doesn't know when she's going to schedule that yet at this point. So a few things are being canceled. I know a lot of our groups are doing online meetups, and with the online meetups, join your local meetup. We have a listing on PrepperNet.com. We also have you can go to Meetup and just type in PrepperNet, and you'll see it'll list. I think there's a total of 65 listed there right now. I've got 3 that have not been published. One is Southeast Atlanta. The other one is I don't know where they are. I'm sorry. I know one Southeast Atlanta, and where's the other one? Oh, the other 2, I don't know. But anyway, so with that said, and join our Facebook group as well. There's a lot of good conversation that goes on there. So with all that said, I am going to actually bring up I have never in my life brought any part of my family into this prepping world. My wife has never been to a meetup. I think she brought me one thing or something one time that I left at home. And I don't think my kids have ever been to one of our meetings. But tonight I am bringing my son on, and his girlfriend, Katie. Are you guys there?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Sounds good.
Sounds good. So that's Caleb, my son, my flesh and blood right there, guys. And then that's Katie, his friend. Right?
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted you to say something. So the reason I want to talk to you guys, and I'm thanks for coming on, by the way.
Thanks for having us.
This will go viral before you even know it. But you guys went to Paris.
London and Paris.
London. And why would you do that?
One spring break.
So for spring break, you went to. Was I apprehensive of letting you go? Do you remember that?
I don't think so, because you weren't the one paying for it. I don't remember any of that.
Well, it was hard for me not to say anything, but you guys went.
Yep.
And when you went to London, this was the very beginning in the United States, though, right?
Right. It was. I can't remember the exact dates. I want to say March 7th through 13th, possibly.
No, it was before that, I think. Wasn't it? No? Katie, you know. What's the dates?
It was the 6th through the 13th. I think he was right.
So the 6th. So it was just starting up in America. We didn't know exactly where this was going to go, but you guys went. No problems in London, right?
No.
It wasn't even a big deal in London at that time, was it?
No, I'm not even sure if there was any confirmed cases at that time in London.
And you went to Paris. So tell me what you saw in Paris.
We did pretty much everything that you would want to do in Paris. The Eiffel Tower, went to the Louvre, Musée d'Orsay, went to the Notre Dame Cathedral, what's left of it. And I don't know. Am I missing anything?
No, we kind of just did everything.
Okay. And so y'all were concerned that things would be shut down, though, when you got to Paris, though, right? Things were happening pretty rapidly in France, wasn't it?
Right. So we did buy a ticket to go see a soccer game while we were there, and that they ended up playing that without fans. So we got our money back for that, but we couldn't go. And they imposed a 1,000-person limit at all public gatherings. So all the museums we went to, the lines were a little longer, just because of the 1,000-person limit. But other than that, our trip wasn't very affected. Our second to last night there is when Trump announced that travel ban from Europe, and so our phones blew up that night. It we were up till 4 a.m. just trying to figure stuff out, figure out flights. We didn't have to change our flight, luckily, but just kind of getting the confirmation and getting ready, and basically ensuring that we could get out on time.
So when we first heard it from Trump, a travel ban, we didn't know anything. He'd never mentioned that Americans could get home, and we were concerned because we knew. I think he did it on Thursday, and you were set to leave, or was it on Wednesday? And you were set to leave on Friday.
Well, he announced. I think it was 2 days before, and then it went into effect at midnight. And our flight, we were gonna leave Paris Friday morning already, so we didn't have to change anything around. We just got to the airport early to make sure that in case anything went wrong, we could find a way out of there in time.
Okay, so you got out. Was the airport kind of busy and chaotic when you went there?
No, so we had seen on Twitter and elsewhere that the day he announced it, so he announced it was, I think, 2 or 3 a.m. Local Paris time.
Right.
And so that, I think the following day, the Paris airport was pretty busy, but when we were there, we had no problems at all. It was a normal flight there.
So as you got onto the plane, flying back, some things were going on you didn't know was going on until you kind of got to Chicago, right?
Well, I mean, we knew what was going on, but we didn't really know to the extent to which the panic, or I guess the extent to which everything was, because it really got bad in America, at least the hype about it and the concern about it, the week we were over there. So coming back, we kind of got a reality check in that aspect in terms of life in America.
Okay, so but as you took off, I kind of went into action, and we called Katie's mom, and we told them that you guys should go in quarantine. And she agreed because, Katie, your father has, it would not be good for him to be anywhere around anything like this, correct?
He has asthma, so he's just more at risk.
So he had asthma, and your wife was really concerned, and I called your mom and said, hey, we're gonna make Caleb go into quarantine. And she was kind of relieved because she was trying to figure out what you guys were going to do.
Yeah, I think that was definitely the right call. I know at least my father is getting pretty old, and so he's definitely at risk. So I think it's definitely the good call in retrospect.
So so while you guys are in the air, Teresa and I, your mom and I, we go shopping and we load the car up with food because we're going to send you for 14 days to go in quarantine. And at that time, I called Katie's parents, and her mom went out and got food. So we had this car. You could barely fit your suitcases in there. Is that not correct? And it's an SUV.
Yeah.
Of food and drinks.
Yeah, we just squeeze our suitcases in there.
Yeah.
To move stuff around and make it fit. And
so you guys got off the plane, kind of handed you the keys, which I was kind of mad at that. I was hoping she'd throw you or leave them in the car. So at the gate, literally, y'all got in the car and drove off, and we still haven't seen you yet, correct?
Right. Yeah, we had been traveling for 25 hours in the air and then waiting in airports, and when we got back at midnight local time, and then we had to drive another 2.5 hours up to Chapel Hill, where we are now.
Yeah, y'all are students at Chapel Hill, correct?
Right.
Are you passing?
We're trying. I'll let you know in a few weeks.
Okay. So while you're in quarantine, did you get sick any?
So about 6 days after we got back, Katie started feeling bad. She had a headache and a sore throat. And then probably about 7 days after we got back, the best way I could describe it, felt kind of like I had the flu in terms of my entire body was aching. But it wasn't that bad, and I didn't have a fever. It felt physically, I thought I had a fever, so I took my temperature a lot, but I never did. And so My symptoms lasted for probably about 3 days, so 7 to 10 days after I got back, and Katie just recently started feeling 100% probably 2 days ago.
So did you guys go get testing for the virus, COVID-19?
No, I tried to get tested. I called the UNC Center for COVID-19, and they said that physically I was okay, and because I didn't have a fever, they were going to save the tests for people who really needed it. So neither of us could get tested because we didn't have fevers.
Okay. So do you think you had it? Looking at the symptoms, because there are mild symptoms and then there's, severe. Do you
I think so. I think we just had really mild symptoms. I think they just affect people in different ways, and there's so much we don't know about it yet. But I think we did have it. We just got lucky and had mild symptoms.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's no way to know for sure, but based on the symptoms we had, even though they were mild, and then the timeline of when we started feeling them once we got back, because the average time period for people to show symptoms, I believe, is 5 days, but it's 2 to 14, and she started probably 5 to 6 days after we got back. I was maybe a day later, 7 days, and so there are definitely a few coincidences, but also it's in the news 24/7. We may or may not have had it. We're not running around telling everyone we did, but the symptoms and the timeline definitely matched up, so we wouldn't be surprised.
But y'all did do quarantine, which is amazing. That's good.
Yeah,
that's what America should. I mean, there's so many people not doing it. It's really affecting America and where we are today. It's just crazy that people don't listen to the advice. And it's not that a lot of people are going to die from it. It's just, why get everyone sick from it? It's just dumb. So Katie, your dad has asthma. Do you feel like you can? You feel so? Okay. The question is, I forgot I was going to ask you this. So if you had COVID-19, how long before you can get around other people? Because I think you guys studied that.
The rule is it has to be 7 days after your first symptom and then 72 hours after your last symptom.
Okay. So has it been 72 hours?
It will be tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yep. We're planning on coming home tomorrow morning if we haven't told you yet.
No, we don't have food for you. Okay, so you guys are coming home tomorrow. Anything else you guys want to do you have any friends, college friends that went on vacation or that came back and they were tested positive?
One of my friends.
You don't have to say their name.
Yeah, I had a friend who was in London that she actually did test positive, and the girl that she went with tested positive. And she had very similar symptoms to me. Like, she had just a really bad sore throat and a headache, but she didn't have. I had my tonsils taken out when I was a kid, but her tonsils got so swollen that she couldn't breathe. So she was taken to the hospital, and that's where she tested positive. So I think that was kind of the difference in our circumstances. But yeah, she had it pretty bad. And then the girl that she traveled with also got it pretty bad. She ended up in the hospital too for breathing problems, but they're both better now and recovering.
And they had no underlying conditions, probably. I don't think, did they?
No.
Hey, did your cousin get it, Caleb?
No, she tested negative, but her roommate, she went to spring break in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Her roommate tested positive, but she had no symptoms whatsoever. She actually went, and when she first got tested, when she first went to the doctor, she thought she had strep throat. She came back negative, so then they tested her for coronavirus, and she came back positive. And she has no idea how she got it or why, but her symptoms were similar to strep throat, but then they went away really quickly.
Okay. Well, so we get to see. Well, I at least get to see Caleb tomorrow. You gonna drop Katie home on the way?
I think that's the plan.
That's the plan. Well, I just wanted to share. I mean, because I told people as we were going through this that my son was in Paris and the whole story, and you guys actually think you had the symptoms and had it, but but you don't know. But just imagine if you did, if I think I would feel pretty good if I had it and I completely recovered, because then you're safe. Because Dr. Fauci says you can't get it twice. There's no circumstance that they have actually proven that someone has gotten this twice yet. So anyway, well, that was it. That's what I want you to get. Any final words, any last words you want to say do quarantine, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Just we followed the CDC guidelines, and I think it worked out to protect us and then protect others, most importantly.
But at the time, also, I do want to mention, when y'all got off the plane, the CDC, no one told you guys anything, did they?
If I'm not mistaken, part of when Trump issued that European travel ban, he said if you are an American citizen coming from any of those countries in the EU, that you need to do a 14-day quarantine.
Gotcha.
So I think it was definitely protocol when we were coming back.
Okay. Well, guys, that's it, man. I appreciate you coming on, Caleb. I can't wait to see you. And I know we need new life in the house, because I think I'm driving everybody crazy. So.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. So thank you guys for being on, and we will chat with you guys later. Be safe tomorrow.
Right. Thank you very much.
Yep. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. I told you guys, that's my son, Caleb Garvin. And I just wanted to share two people that were, they were kind of caught in all this and some of the decisions Donald Trump made. And then also that did the 14-day quarantine. And, I kind of initiated, I think they already had it on their mind because of Katie's father. And so, but I'm just happy that everything's turned out, and want you guys to make sure that if you have family members or people you work with and they have kids, social distancing is the only way for us to get rid of this thing. Some of you guys don't think this is a big concern. At this point, you know what? Everyone has an opinion, and we don't really care. We just want this to go away. So keep your opinion to yourself, kind of thing. As America, we're going down this route. So the more you say, well, this is no big deal, this is just a flu, just nip it. We're going down this route. Nothing you say is going to change the direction we're going in. So just kind of keep it to yourself, because you kind of offend other people sometimes, because people do think this is somewhat important. So okay, I have my next guest on here. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna just bring him up. This is Tenderfoot, guys. This is my co-host. You guys have never seen him in real life, but I actually have him in real life right there. Tenderfoot, are you there? Can you talk? Can you say something?
Ah!
Tenderfoot is in the house. Oh, wait, I even have a banner for you, Tenderfoot.
Oh yeah.
Right here. Tenderfoot is in the house. So if y'all have listened to any of my podcast, Tenderfoot is a pastor, ordained minister. He does a lot for my church. He does a lot of consulting with churches. And you can see his brain is half there. I think he had COVID-19 back in the 70s. So, and it's really affected him. So,
well, I thought I'd wear this because no one's ever seen me. And there's a whole story behind the Tenderfoot thing.
Okay, well, please share.
We'll get to that. Do you want me to reveal?
I do. Well, let me put my complete shades on that blocks all vision first.
Okay.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing spectacular. This
okay.
is not
Nothing,
like
yeah. Don't throw up at home. Tenderfoot. Yes.
So this is it. This is the first reveal of who Tenderfoot is.
And Tenderfoot, you're a Navy man, correct?
That's right.
A corpsman.
Hospital corpsman.
Yes.
Yes. And So, but yeah, so I served in the Navy as a hospital corpsman, served with the Marine Corps and with Navy Squadron, F-18 Squadron. And Forrest and I have known each other, well, since I moved to Charlotte.
Yeah,
So,
since I've known you, you almost died once.
That's right. We first met, and that did. I had a bad accident right after we met, and
It wasn't my fault.
it wasn't.
Yes, you did, and many years to get through that too. But you're doing good. It really messed up your face.
That's it.
But you are a prepper.
Yes.
And a lot of your extended family members are preppers or preparedness people.
Yep, part of my mag, definitely.
Part of your mag, and we go to the same church. So, how has this affected you and your family? This COVID-19.
Well, the thing that when it really hit me, because we it was funny, we were at Disney when all this was going down. We had already planned that, and we were hearing all of this, and we're like, do we still go to Disney? And it was too much money not to go. Went to Disney, and you and I stayed in touch even while I was at Disney, and got back. And for us, we made it past that 14-day mark. But as soon as we got back, that's when the governor, chimed in and started saying stuff, and then everything with Trump, and we knew, hey, something's really serious about to happen, and we've been nonstop, with the church stuff and everything we've been doing, and so for me, in a sense, I'm still going about regular daily life, but my mom, I think that really stood out to me is she has her own business and she can't go back to work. She's a beautician, and they said you can't do that, and so that was really hard. She's been working for 45 years and still going at it, and she didn't know what to kind of do. So we're just trying to take care of just family right now, and but other than that, so far so good. And you just don't know. You don't know how you're getting exposed or anything, but we try to be as careful as we can.
So you're actually, believe it or not, you're considered an essential employee at a church. Matter of fact, you're the only, he's on the media team at my church. They're the only ones going into work.
Yeah. Yeah. And the pastor.
And the pastor, yes. So a couple things we're going to get back to prepping, but a couple things that people don't understand, that about 7 million churches in the last 3 weeks had to figure out how to go online, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
And Travis does consulting, and you help churches with getting their media going and getting them online. And that's been, people think it's easy, but it is. But there's some training and some time and commitment. Yeah. It is easy. Anyone can do it.
No, it because a lot of them never thought like that. So it's not just the matter of fact. It's not just the technology. It's how do they engage the people? How do they do what they've always known? To gather. That's what the church is. We are the gathered and the scattered. And right now they're focusing on that scattered side of things, and leveraging technology when they're used to. Meeting in one location, if you will, for the American church. And so it's been a challenge for them. So it's not just setting them up, with technology, but, trying to help guide through how do you navigate through this and stay focused on the right things.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest issues right now is the churches that weren't online, they immediately want to go to a high production, highly professional broadcast. And I don't think that's what people want. You watch Jimmy Fallon, you watch all these different shows. They're using low tech things, exactly what we're doing, and people are okay with that. And I think it's being overproduced, and I think people actually don't like that right now.
Yeah,
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's just
You
they
got
want to know who we are and
Right.
and just connect.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't speak for everybody. Everyone's probably got different opinions and maybe they want, but it like you said, I think you said it very well. To see Jimmy Fallon, to see others that are doing that, and the way that they're doing it, really kind of challenges us, to think differently. And we in the American church mindset, we are more. We do think more production, and we want that. But I think we're seeing something different, and you just really got to start listening to the people. And yeah, so my goal is just to help really those who've never done this and don't know where to begin.
And you guys may say, well, how does media and a church, what does this have to do with preparedness and prepping? Well, when I see the statistics here that they're saying upwards of 200,000 people are going to die, the church is very important when people start dying, especially hundreds of thousands of people are going to die. That's kind of like, I think that was in the low numbers as well. And imagine someone in your family that passes away and you can't go to their funeral. I actually know someone right now that's in the hospital, and it's her husband, and she can't go see him because of the protections the hospital has of the COVID-19.
Right.
But are they going to start broadcasting funerals?
Oh. No, each church is going to handle things differently. I do know that the majority that I do, the churches that I've talked with, they're basically holding everything at the funeral home. They still have to stay within the numbers and what family members can go. I've live streamed a funeral before, usually high profile funerals. I think Billy Graham even. I didn't do that one, but I'm just saying. So that is not unusual. So there is that. There are people that are bringing their phones into the funeral homes and everything like that, but they're not meeting in the churches for those particular things. It's very that's a case by case. I can't speak for every church. I'm not out there in every single church, but the ones that I do know is they're doing all of that at the funeral home and the essential stuff at the church. Not that that's not essential, you know what I mean, in the sense
Right.
of Sunday service and everything in regards of live streaming.
You know what? You should get in the business now as well. And you actually are in this business. You already have a company doing this. But people are going to get married. They're still going to get married.
They are.
And you can live stream their wedding instead of just videotape it now. And so you already have the business and everything set up. And so you can make some major dollars.
Yeah. They've already, it's funny because I'm part of some groups and in Facebook, and that was the conversation right off the bat. People were already calling, counseling, and they just like, hey, all I want is live stream. Can you come and do that and set that up? And then now with the restrictions, even more restrictions, they're just calling it off. And so there's still some. If you look at the guidelines for North Carolina, I can only speak for North Carolina, and it's pretty broad anyway across the board. But for North Carolina, you're still allowed to have these things. You're still allowed to have the weddings and everything, but they're limited to 10 people.
Right.
So.
Yeah. That. So let's talk about prepping a little bit. So. Yeah. You've been a prepper for a long time. You've been in the preparedness week, and I think the weekend we met is the weekend you got hurt. Is that correct? Did we meet?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got hurt.
We did. We were. And you found out I had rabbits, and you had rabbits, and
yeah,
that's how we talked.
We're like, hey, maybe our rabbits should get together.
Need more meat.
So what have you done different in your house now that this is going on?
what have we done different? I mean, a lot of we were already doing, and you and I talk a lot, and even how to improve things. Because though I've always been a prepper, I think mainly because of the military background, and not even that, just the way I grew up. But I didn't call myself that until I met you, really. Like I knew it, I understood it, but you and I started talking, and I really think that's where the friendship came from. I was like, oh man, now there's a title to it. I guess I was a closet prepper or something, but but we just really reevaluate everything. Especially in this context of, man, how does this look? Because I hadn't really thought of this too much. Like this would be the scenario. But I'm not far removed from it as a hospital corpsman. We talked about it a lot, and I remember saying, and I've said it to my wife. I said, man, if anything were going to be really bad, it would be something within biological. I know a lot of people talk about EMPs and stuff. I'm one of those that think, man, we talked a lot about biological and chemical warfare and stuff, and I just remember just the preparation for that and the training for that, and it was always daunting, and it seemed like it would it was scary. It was scary even in those scenarios. We didn't even really face it then. So we're just cautious about what we do, how I come home, and I go straight to the shower and everything else. I don't come in and hug the kids' necks and everything. But
yeah, you told me you yelled at one of the kids, your daughter. She was running at you to give you a hug.
Yeah, so she was a little freaked out. She come running at me. Unfortunately, I had to go to the post office, and guys, it's scary. It's scary out there. I was even shocked that the post office was still open, but I had to go do that, and I came home, and she was running after me, and I was like, no. And Amber already had everything laid out for me to get taken care of. But
so you're taking this serious?
Yeah, I am.
Is that because of underlying medical issues, or do you just think this is a serious thing to watch?
I think it's just a serious thing. I don't think I think health-wise, I'm okay. The accident that I had was not an underlying health issue. It was just it was an accident. So we'll just keep it at that. But yeah. But so that's what that was. So I think health-wise, I think I'm okay, and that's not something to be concerned about. But again, I know the realities of it. You don't know where your exposure is coming from, and that's the bad thing or that's the thing about this. It's not just about you; it's about others around you, and that's what we gotta think of. But I do have friends that are still in the healthcare, and they've contacted me and talked to me. They didn't contact me; I've contacted them rather, and they have said, "Hey, this is something we got to take serious," and these guys are working hard, and overtime a lot.
Yep. So I remember when we talked, and you were in Disney, and I was telling you some of the things that are going on, and you were just kind of like in a different world. You're like, what?
I know.
I'm like, dude, they're getting ready to lock down America. You're like, what? You're out riding Mickey and all these rides, and had no idea what was going on. And
you really do get lost at Disney. I mean,
yeah,
you disconnect.
You told me at one point, he goes, man, I'm glad that you're telling me this stuff. I had no idea.
Yeah.
You came home to it, and it's a different world, though, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. And that's what's weird is it's felt like a dream to me. And though for me, I really haven't skipped a beat for what I do. And so I've been very involved and just been going, but everything else and just what you're seeing and how everybody's talking. Yeah. It reminds me a lot, being overseas and coming back and just that feeling of a little bit of a disconnect. You know, when you come in, it's got a little bit of a shock factor to it. So yeah.
And so if you guys ever listen to any of our podcasts, you've been on the podcast with me for many, many times.
Yeah.
And Kyle's coming on in a little bit. But what do you think is going to be the outcome of all this? I mean, you're corpsman, you're a prepper, you're big into the church, you're a pastor. What do you see the end being? I know that's a difficult question.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think a lot of changes are coming from this. I take more of a positive perspective on it. I think a lot of good's going to come out of this. I think you're going to see, you're really seeing the beauty of America, of Americans, and how they're going to pull together. Just the innovation, and all of that together is something that I've really observed, and I think is going to happen. You know, I think you're going to see, a lot of people been giving capitalism a lot of flack and stuff like that, and I think you're going to see the beauty of it in through this as well. You know, speaking from the financial side, but the church, I think, has been really challenged, and me from that perspective, I think there's going to be a huge growth and movement even within inside the church from this, and a connection of the church global, and so that's really kind of the perspective I look at it. But man, the church has been through so much. When I say the church, I mean the historical big C, the church has been through so much of persecution, been through pandemics and stuff before, and so and just to see how they come together, it's something we're going to continue to see.
Yeah, and do you think, and you think the church is going to grow? I think the church has a very important part to play from this point for at least the next 6 months, and the sad thing is, I don't think the church is ready for this. And I've shared this with you. Churches aren't ready for this. They're not. They were in this comfort zone, and they don't think about preparedness. They don't think about the things that they're being called to do right now to help people, and to not only, but financially, possibly, not only physically with food, but also mentally. A lot of churches aren't really ready for this, but they always seem to come together and get it done. But getting it done is sometimes not bringing your A game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got to comment on that? You don't want to comment because you're employed by the church. I understand.
No, actually, I got distracted by some of the comments. I need to actually take it off. But I don't even know where we're going with that.
Well, I'll just say this, because one of the things that I absolutely hate, and my church is one of these churches that do this, we outsource our benevolence ministry. We actually pay another organization money to handle all the influx of people and their needs. And I absolutely hate that. I've been preaching about that for years. And it's just not my church. Hundreds of churches in the Charlotte area pay this one nonprofit money, and everyone goes there to get their food and their resources. And I hate that. I think it's wrong. And again, bigger churches than ours do that. And so we're not ready. If someone comes to our church building and asks for food, we don't have food to give them.
Yeah,
we don't. We send them to, I think it's called Love Inc. If you look Love Inc. up, they're the ones that are, it might be crisis assistance, one of the two, both of them. And I
There's
understand.
several out there. Loaves and Fish is one, but yeah.
And I understand their thinking is that, hey, we can't handle the database, and everyone's got a different database of all the people that are in need, and people could take advantage of the whole system. But that's just a wrong way to do it. And someone says, perhaps I'm going to the wrong church or something. No,
No.
This is done nationwide. Your small church in your little city might not do it, but when you go to bigger churches, they all do that. In every city. I tried to start a nonprofit that would change that many years ago, and it is nationwide. They do that. So, but anyway,
yeah, it's a lot of partnerships that are happening, and,
yes,
and that's just what that is doing, is connecting to the community, and in some of these cases, they do it better because that's all they focus on, and I think that's a lot of what you see is the churches, like, they realize that, you know what, you're doing it better than I can do. Some of them do both. And I think some of them have a small pantry at the church, or they may just take care of just the certain local members or whatever, the elderly within their church, and then they also partner with, and so we're in a different time, and also it also protects against, I think, a lot of scams and stuff too.
And that's the main reason they do it, because in a city like Charlotte, a person can live off the churches 20 years ago by going from church to church to church to church, saying, hey, I need money, and I need food. And that's the reason why the church is kind of, like you said, partner is the, I guess, the word of the day, partnered with organizations that can keep track of that. So that's just my 2 cents. Probably shouldn't have gone there. I'm going to get kicked out of my own church now. Actually, they don't watch this, so I'm not worried. So, have you ever met Kyle?
Yeah, of course.
You have? Okay.
Well, because I think so that's one of the things I wanted to talk about was, so you had Kyle was your co-host, and he was still your co-host when I came, kind of when I intersected. But you one night, I guess he couldn't be there, and you're like, hey, Travis, why don't you just come on the show? And I was like,
I was desperate.
and that's where it all started. I said, sure, why not? And guys, how it worked out was right before Forrest went on the show, he goes, so what's a nickname that you go by? Because we were only doing podcasts at the time.
Right.
So there was, I think you and Kyle had done a few videos, but you were just doing podcasts. And I was just joking. And I told you the joke about Tenderfoot.
Yes.
And because I really didn't have a nickname. And he said, oh, no, that's the one we're going with.
Yes. So that comes from, if you've ever hiked the Appalachian Trail,
yes, it does.
You get a nickname. So why is your nickname Tender Toes?
Tender Toes. Oh man, I know. And when I was on the show, everyone wanted to call you Twinkle Toes. They wanted to give you a nickname.
Yeah, and I got my AR-15 out, and they stopped talking like that.
No, Tenderfoot came from, I'm a fun-loving guy, and I get along with everybody, and I like to laugh a lot. And so on the Appalachian Trail, I got blisters. That was it. I got some bad blisters, and I get bad blisters a lot. Here comes Kyle right now, and it just stuck. There was a guy on the trail with us. He said, hey, everybody's got to get a name while you're on the trail, and yours is Tenderfoot. And so that's where it came from.
Tenderfoot, yes.
And literally, and that has stuck. Every time I go on the trail, that is my Appalachian Trail name. So, yeah.
And Kyle's is incognito. Kyle, you there?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes. You might need to speak a little bit closer to the phone, but look at that. Kyle, and this is the first time you guys have ever been live together, though.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were just going through how Tenderfoot got his name. Kyle, do you have any nicknames? I mean, I know I call you a lot of names, but do you have any any nicknames that have stuck?
Oh no, not really. No.
Okay, because we're gonna. Hey, you guys, hang on, because we're gonna talk about a conspiracy theory that Kyle says is going to come to pass. Right?
Which one's this?
You've
I've
got
heard a few.
one, don't you? You've got one that you can share with us tonight, don't you? Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, Tenderfoot, I'm gonna. You can hang on if you want. I'm gonna ask Kyle about his. So we did this thing. We never did this with you, Tenderfoot, but Kyle, he loves to think through things.
Yeah.
And like to a degree that I don't like to go that far because it gets dark. But wait, I do have this banner. Let me do this banner right here. I don't know. Can y'all see that?
Kyle is not dead.
Kyle is not dead. That's going across the screen, Kyle. And Kyle, you're not trying to hide your face because you've been on live with me, but you're just in a area that you can't do video, correct?
Yeah, if I do video, it's going to cut out on us completely.
So yeah, so you're not trying to hide your face, but Kyle, tell us what is going on, who created this, and why are people dying, and how is the aliens of the planet Ron, whatever, how are they going to control us in 6 months? No, I'm kidding, dude.
Yeah,
but what you were telling me about this conspiracy theory? Tell me about it.
Which one were you thinking I was talking about here?
Oh my gosh, you were talking the other night about about the government getting more control over people by using this event.
Or is going after using our cell phones to track us, which we know that they're doing. I mean, we talked a little bit earlier about the story up in Rhode Island now, where the governors used to hunt down New Yorkers that are seeking refuge in the state. I mean, I don't think that's
See, I agree.
really a conspiracy theory at this point. It's kind of proven fact.
That is true. You also that is true, and I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, Kyle, but you every one thing you always state is every conspiracy theory has a little bit of truth in it. You're not going to comment on that? Did we lose Kyle? The government just muted his phone. He makes one statement and the government just shuts him off.
That's why I stayed here. You know, I knew it was going to happen.
Kyle are you there, Kyle?
Send us a private chat if you.
He's on his phone. He's nowhere near a computer. He's bugged out.
Yeah.
So anyway, Kyle always says that every conspiracy theory, if you go back in time, he's right. I mean, he's like, every conspiracy theory starts with something. Like the chemtrails. I said, absolutely, there's no chemtrails. But then the government actually did post things that they were doing testing with chemtrails and stuff. And I'm like, okay. Did Kyle have information about Hillary?
I'm trying to ignore all of those over there.
We're bringing Kyle back on here, guys. Kyle, are you there? Oh, are you there, Kyle? He's still not there.
Still can't come in.
Yeah, we knew that he was in a place that would be kind of interesting, to say the least.
Yeah. There's a lot to this, man. There's a lot of interesting stuff. So, you talk about conspiracies. There is always the question of, I always like the question, what do we not know? And that is the truth. There's things that we don't know. So,
yeah, Kyle, if you can hear us, you can jump in anytime. I do agree that our civil liberties are going to be hit again, but I'm just not sure they created this I think they're going to take advantage of it as opposed to the cause, and they caused it to get this. So, Kyle, people are saying in the chat you're dead. So, but you know what I'm saying, Tenderfoot? That
Yeah.
But I mean, the scary thing is, and I don't want to go all political here, but man, if I think Trump, I personally, I don't know any facts, I don't know this at all, but I think Trump is the least likely person to want to take our civil liberties away, though.
Yeah.
I think Obama, I think anyone else, this would be kind of a
yeah. It's definitely you're seeing that with just how his interactions are and what he has said. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
You agree with me on that?
If it was someone else.
Yep. So we're going to try something because Kyle is going to come in the house here. So let's try. I'm going to try actually calling him.
All right.
Are you there?
I am here. Yes, I was here the entire time, but I could barely understand anything you guys were saying.
Can y'all hear Kyle?
I can hear him.
Okay, pretty good. So Kyle, we were saying there's truth in every conspiracy theory, and you think the government's going to take advantage of this?
I think that there are proponents of the government that would love to take advantage of this. I mean, leave no crisis wasted, right?
Right. And how do you see that playing out?
I mean, for one, I think they're going to go after encryption on devices. I think kind of like how you had other devices or other apps disappear, you'll probably see apps like Signal probably have to give up their encryption. I'll see probably Apple will have to give up their encryption. Just in order to, what they'll say is track everyone to see who's sick and where they're going to make sure everyone's, participating in their social distancing. I can see federalism coming back into play and the federal government overriding state rights.
Now you brought up the encryption, and I've actually read articles in one of their bills they passed that they could actually request for the key to get into apps that are encrypted. Why would they need that?
They really don't. I mean, I understand the idea that they want to keep track of everyone and make sure people are social distancing, but they're using this as a play just to get into our pockets even further. I mean, I find it a little repugnant that so many Americans are all going to know about these bills that are bailing everyone out. I mean, I agree that the American people, it's nice that something should have been done, but years ago, they're bailing out big businesses. And I see that as just another way that they can hold us culpable for debts that they're accumulating. They want to make sure you're at home. They want to make sure you're socially distancing yourself from everyone. And right there, it comes back on the Constitution. We have a right to assembly. Even if this sort of thing's going on, say that groups of people who don't have the right to assemble who have been, quarantined, and there's no chance of having disease.
But doesn't the Constitution say we have a right to assemble with 10 people or less?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's not exactly what it was intended. I understand what's going on right now, but I just feel that whatever authority that they grant themselves now, they will not give it back once this is said and done.
Kind of like the Patriot Act.
Yeah, precisely.
That was George Bush took more of our freedom and rights away than any other president in the history of the United States. But some of us, being Republicans, go, we love George Bush because he was a Republican. But when it comes to privacy and security, he was the absolutely worst president we've ever had in that area.
I mean, and a lot of Americans don't understand. I can't remember the executive order number off the top of my head. But there's one that Obama passed while he was in office that basically says that during a time of an emergency nationwide, the government can actually claim people as well as property as part of the government to force you to work. You can look at that. It's not hard to search key. I don't remember the number of it, but it's definitely in there. You can literally be seized as property of the United States and forced to work in order to either pay off government debt or just to produce.
You know, the government is pretty powerful, because if you remember 3 days ago, Trump was talking about GM not playing fairly, not wanting to make ventilators. Today, he said, "Oh, they're playing well. They're on the team now. They're making ventilators. They're working hard." And I was thinking, that's a government forcing a private company to do what the government wants them to do. And we're okay with that, because why? It's going to save lives.
Well, I mean, part of this problem in its entirety is just the fear mongering that goes on. And I mean, honestly, if a company doesn't force to do something, I don't think that they should. But the government should have taken action a lot sooner than they have. I mean, I'm not one to say that martial law would ever be a good thing, but they should have declared quarantines a lot sooner. Tests should have been available a lot sooner. And we shouldn't have been calling this thing a hoax. Well, another thing, too, is we shouldn't be allowing the Democrats to put in all their little pet projects in on these bills that are allegedly to help out American people when it's like, really take us even further in debt.
Yeah. Yeah, and Pelosi said that Trump is killing people. She actually said that. I'm like, what? You know, what do you think about Tenderfoot? Let me ask you, the election. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that you think we're going to go through the primaries and actually have a full election?
It's going to be unique. I don't know. You guys do a great job predicting stuff. But
we don't predict. We just tell what we think's going to happen.
What do you think's going to happen? I mean,
I know that's a prediction, but usually
I get it. I mean, I've said a few things too, and honestly, more I come up with questions, and that's where I'm at. I'm like, what is this going to look like?
Right.
And I definitely think there's definitely going to be something that we need to observe during this election, during this whole entire process. And we're already seeing it, but yeah, I just keep coming up with questions with it.
Kyle, what do you think?
As far as the election goes?
Yes.
I think it's kind of up in the air. I mean, I don't think that we're going to see anything history making where the election's going to be, postponed indefinitely. But I think
so
it might be kind of a bit different.
Is there a law that would allow Trump to stay president, or the law states there has to be an election? I don't know.
I would think depending on how they play it, I'm sure there's some way for him to stay in office and to postpone an election. I'm sure that there is. That's
kind of interesting.
Well, I mean, you got to think. I mean, if the people can't, they're going to have to rethink the whole process, the whole voting process, if it's still going on that long.
Right. So how did this bill pass the other night when technically there was no vote? Did y'all hear about that?
I did. That's interesting to me. But, I mean, are we really that surprised? How many times have they done this in the past, 15, 20 years where they pass bills and no one ever gets to read it?
Right. Yep. Well, so guys, y'all don't understand. This is Kyle. The dead guy is back alive. He's on the phone. He's in a secure bunker. And even when he goes above ground, his cell phone signal is very bad. And then, yep. And then we got Tenderfoot, which is getting ready to bug out tomorrow, right?
That's right.
Yeah, right. Okay. So Kyle and I, we are currently doing the Prepping Academy podcast. If you want to hear some of Kyle's conspiracy theories, you need to listen to them because some of them are really fun.
Yeah, fun's a word for it.
Say what?
Yeah, I said fun's a good word for it.
Fun, yeah, fun's a good word for it. But hey, you guys got any last things you want to say before I let you go? Any last words, Tenderfoot? I'll let you have a last word, and I'll let Kyle.
Oh man,
Just give us some positive hope in America.
Positive hope, man. I have nothing.
You have nothing?
I've always been horrible at just the live stuff, man.
Dude, you're a pastor. You have no positive hope for us whatsoever.
Oh, well, I do. If you, if you're giving me that reign, and totally left my, I speak from, I've really been praying about this and just looking at this recently, and honestly, just really been deep in, even looking at Luke, and I just think about, for those who believe in Christ, it's very important for us to remember to continue to stand firm and know that I just always found it interesting that you read in Luke 21 how Jesus said, even though we die, even though they were to put you to death, not one hair on your head will be touched. And it speaks to eternity. We are eternal beings. We spend a place, we will spend eternity either in heaven or hell, and hell being totally separated from God, our creator. And I think it's very important for us to consider that and to take this time to know what we are saying, to even hear Forrest. I know Forrest has talked about this, his book, Christian Preparedness, and A Case for Christian Preparedness. And, Jesus truly is one that we need to turn to during this time. And I know that a lot of people will doubt that. And no matter what the outcome is, no matter how much we prepare, no matter what we do, the most important thing is our relationship with Christ. Because when you have a relationship with Christ, you have eternity and you are secured. It doesn't matter what's going to happen to you. Nothing will touch even one hair on your head. And I don't mean that in a literal sense. It means that you just you graduate. Eternity is this forever thing. And we're only living right here on earth in this little piece for eternity. And so I think that's what's important. And the only way to eternity is through Jesus Christ.
That, Kyle, can you top that? That was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I can't top that. I mean, wasn't prepared for anything that deep. I mean, I think people just need to, at this point, definitely come to terms with the Lord, with their faith, their relationship. Try to keep it simple. I know a lot of people are out there trying to bicker and debate, all the eschatology, and Forrest and I, we get into that as well. But I think at the end of the day, your salvation is the most important part, and people just need to agree on that. And then remember what the Bible commands you to be doing right now. I mean, I know a lot of us kind of want to stay at home and hunker down and quarantine, but at the same point, make sure you're reaching out to help those who are less fortunate in your community, children, widows, single parents, things of that nature. That's what you're called to do. You're not called to cower and hide in your basement. So, remember that.
Yep, I agree, man. With that said, we're gonna end this broadcast. This was a little different tonight. Let me tell you who I have coming up. I think next Sunday. Possibly, I'm trying to get Scott Hunt on. The very next Sunday is going to be a big name as well. You guys may know her. She does the Grow Network. Y'all know who Margie Wildcraft is? Tenderfoot, you know who that is, don't you? No? Yeah, I'm sure. And but she's going to come on not next Sunday, but the next Sunday she's going to be on with us. And so So also we gotta have some big names. Is all I'm gonna say. Big names. We're gonna do this every Sunday, and that is going to be it for this Sunday, guys. I do want to. Did you take your hat off, Tender? Oh, Tenderfoot's putting his mask back on. Thank goodness for that. So, Kyle, thank you for calling in. We're going to do a podcast tomorrow night, maybe.
Alrighty.
And then we'll post that up. And then Tenderfoot, he's so busy he can't do a podcast anytime soon. So he's a critical employee right now. What's it? Essential.
Yeah.
So, well, you guys take care and God bless. And we will see you Thursday night. Let me put that screen up real quick. Thursday night. Sign up. You go. Let me put this up. Boom. Go to preppernet.com/plan and sign up, and to get the email of where the class is going to be on Thursday night. So you guys take care. God bless. Bye-bye.